Hello friends, Fujosevic here with some Dragon Priest, some new Dragon Priest from the recently released Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, and I do mean recently. Potentially I was expecting to be queuing into a Dragon Priest mirror, which I wasn't necessarily looking forward to, but this now really looks like we run into a control matchup, which I think is going to be fine, and potentially kind of good for us. So this deck definitely plays like the old Dragon Priest in that it very looks to play a tempo game early on. Ooh, stole a coin. That's not great. Oh, this is going to be a very interesting matchup. I'll be playing against my own deck. And hey, guess what? You're not the only one who can be discovering. So I'm not going to go and coin out my... I'm not going to coin out my Cabal Talon Priest. I don't think there's any point for that. My opponent's going to play slow. I need to play slow. I think my win condition in this deck is in this matchup. I shouldn't say in this deck. Should we buff this? I'll say yeah. Want to get that buff off? That's not bad. A 3 mana 3/7. I would play that, and it looks like I just did actually. Oh, what is this? What is this that I'm seeing right now, friends? I'm not 100% sure. So, one of the things with this deck, actually, is that you don't want to be spending your early turns healing, which kind of takes away from the overall idea of the dragon, of the priest hero power, but that's kind of fine for us right now. So one of the things that I've learned, at least, and I know a lot of people a lot smarter than I am at Hearthstone have talked about. Ooh, this is actually a turn. Do we want to heal? Do we want to just play our big guy? Actually, I don't want to play my last dragon. There is that. So I will go ahead and buff this out of range, and I'll heal this up. Now we will heal. And that wasn't because we wanted to heal, that was because we wanted to hold on to our last dragon. So tempo, well, Dragon Priest, I should say, plays more like a tempo deck early on, where you want to play some of your slightly overstated minions, a 1 mana 2/3. We're thinking Zombie Chow, and that's really good for us. The fact that an Entomb needed to be used on my 4-drop. And now I need to think, do we want to push for any more damage or not? And we should take a second and actually think about this. And we'll do a little thought exercise time, because if we play our Blackwing Corruptor, we deal 3 to face, set him at 14. Next damage, then we'll have 8 plus 2 is 10. Plus another 2 in hand is only 12, so we will not be setting up lethal for next turn if we do that. However, it'll set him at a very, very low health total. Now, we don't have any burst beyond Holy Nova then in the deck, really, aside from a second Blackwing Corruptor. But we do have almost unlimited removal, so it's not like we're expecting to really run into too many problems. So I feel like we should go ahead and do it. We'll continue applying pressure here. And we do have some bigger minions in this deck. We do have a Ragnaros and a Ysera as our end game win conditions. And if this eats a Shadow or Death, Holy Fire, that's less good for us. And I have one of those in this deck as well, which I guess is more burst also. And we'll just keep buffing up our minions and continuing to pump in the damage. So that basically negates his last turn. We both got an extra draw there, which is fine. And this is kind of the idea behind the deck overall, where you want to play your slightly overstated minions, and then you use the priest removal to continue to chip away at the health until you're able to basically overwhelm them. Now, my opponent's playing a control style priest, at the very least from what we've seen. So I'm not really expecting to really overrun them or outvalue them or run them out of resources at this point in the game. But that's kind of the game plan of this deck overall, at the very least. And if we do get another dragon, I may very well play Draconoid Operative. And that's actually a really, really cool, potentially cool control card. Again, if I was playing... Oh, that's brutal. Hey, Lord Walker Cho. That's awful for me. Do I need to get rid of anything? I don't think so. I've got nice big minions on board. I can get rid of Lord Walker Cho next turn. I could also play the Dragonfire Potion, but I don't think that gets me anything. It clears a Lore Walker Cho and a Cabal Courier, and my own Talon Priest, which I kind of like having around, because It's the strongest minion right now on board. And I don't think Priest is going to have much more in the way of stall. But it's really interesting. The Prince Malchezaar idea, at least, is kind of cool.
Do you know the secret handshake?
Oh, whenever a character is healed, give your Cthulhu +1/+1. So they run a control Cthulhu package with Prince Malchezaar. I think that deck is trying to do too much. You tell me if I'm crazy. Now, we all know I'm not necessarily great at deck building, but I think that deck is trying to do too much. There's no way that's... Okay. I was going to say, there's no way that gets the trigger, is there? So we can potentially clear now. Oh, can we clear with the Holy Nova? We could hit, and then just use our removals and just go face. That's also potentially a play. I kind of like that more. Our opponent doesn't have tons of resources. I don't want to give them a ton of cards, really. We're at least going to do this. Now the question is if we want to get rid of this as well, or not. I guess we can draw first. We'll put this out of range of the Blackwing Corruptor just in case we leave it up. Oh, now I think we have to get rid of that, right? And we'll heal up our little 2/3 because this Twilight Whelp is way too cute to let die to a Holy Nova. And now this is really good because next turn we'll have a nice big juicy Ragnaros to help us finish off the game. A random minion for my deck, not Ysera, and we're okay. Ooh, the Golden Draconoid Operative. That's sad for us. That's an interesting... This is a super, super control-y deck. That can really backfire, though, because this is really bad against aggro. Healing, and then more healing. Wow, that is a lot of healing, actually. Ooh, if we had another dragon to kind of combo with the Draconoid Operative, we'd be in real business, but that's okay. So now the question is, do we get this? I think we put this to 6 now, so that the Operative can't just be stealing my minions. And I guess there was the option of trading in, but our opponent's played a bunch of removal, and both hits are kind of good. Setting my opponent at 4 is always a good thing, and then also clearing the board is also a good thing at this point. A Mind Control... That's actually kind of sad, because we don't have a Shadow or Death or Entomb in our deck right now. Or in our hand, I should say. Forget our deck. Oh. That's also not the best thing in the world for us, is it? Hold on, can we kill 5 plus 2? Or 5 plus 3 is 8. We could get the 3 damage in. Wait, how much do we have? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Set him at 3. Now, because this is a control matchup, I'm not throwing Bran out there to buff up the Wormrest Agent, because that's nowhere near good enough. I need Bran for at least Netherspite Historian for 2 Discovers, or this Draconoid Operative for these 2 Discovers. So Bran is not getting played anytime soon. The question is now whether or not we want to kill our own Rag, which would be sad, but I think we have to. So what we're going to do is we'll trade in... Because this is deal 5 damage to all minions except dragons. So we'll trade in here. We'll get to see how this works. That's kind of cool. And we will play our other dragon. And again, healing out of Holy Nova. Although I guess if he runs an Excavated Evil, that does clear it, but that's fine. I'm not worried about healing face at this point. I am very excited to see how this dragon... Priest list runs against more aggressive decks. Well, that's going to clear out a 2/4 at least. Give your Cthulhu Taunt. Well, I think if my opponent was running... I think that's... Is that worth? No, I'll save my Shadow Word Pain. I'm not worried about the... Yeah, I'm not worried about anything like that. And again, healing face, if we get Excavated Evil, this was a waste. But actually, I should have healed this one. I forgot this one was buffed. They're all shiny now. Well, that was still a fun, interesting game. It's good to see that this deck was able to out-tempo a control priest, which I guess is kind of expected. But it's good to see that sort of thing can happen. So if you want to see more of these control style mid-rangey decks, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be playing a lot more of these new cards that Mean Streets of Gadgetzan have given us. And I hope to see you guys soon.